Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading satellite office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Tuesday, March the 19th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. I want to first start off by taking a look to see how the indices are closed the session out here for the day. The Dow Jones closed up 3.76 points. The Nasdaq closed down 8.5 points, and the S&P 500 closed down close to 4 points here, closing the session down 3.76 on the S&P. If we take a look at the breadth was in favor of the bears today, as we had 3,685 issues declining on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex, and we had 2,423 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. So, in favor of the bears, second day in a row. We go ahead and jump into charts here, starting off with the triple Qs. The triple Qs closed down 13 cents. You can see we're still here in this little rising. Bear wedge here that could possibly play out if we break below these 67.39s and hold below it and get some confirmation action down there. In the meantime, the triple Qs are selling off below 68, but then they're recovering back above 68, so it looks to be buyers on any dips below 68 at the moment. We actually came back down to that little gap fill area that we bounced off of yesterday and bounced off of that level again today to close that back up near the highs. So the dip buyers are still in the market. They're still waiting, and they're going to continue to do that until it actually fails on them and they feel some pain, and then that whole buy the dip sentiment action starts to get out the market. So we'll see. Whenever that happens out, it's definitely going to be a clue that, all right, the bears are trying to take control here. But in the meantime, continue to trade with the market trend. Buy the dips on some strong names that you like, because every time we sell off, the market's recovering off the lows. I mean, the Dow Jones is actually able to close positive after selling off pretty nice today, from the highs. And then the Nasdaq was able to close back pretty much close to flat after having some nice selling pressure in the during the morning session. And the S&P 500 was was able to sell to recapture the lows and close back up at 1548 after being on the lows of 1538 from selling off all the way from 1558. So we pretty much sold down 20 points on the S&P and rallied back up 10 points. So a lot of volatility in the market. If you were in the chat room today, we were trading the VXX on both sides. Some decent action there. We caught some sprint in the chat room today, which we'll take a look at that chart, because that chart looks like it's ready to break out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY, see what the SPY action, see what SPY action we had today in the market. SPY was down 36 cents, down 0.23% to close at 154.61. We got a nice bounce right off that level that we highlighted to you guys yesterday. Prior resistance now acting as support down here against this 153.30 area. And if I put the studies back on the chart, it also coincides with the 20-day simple and exponential moving average, which was another reason why we like that area down there. So who knows? We could be establishing another range in the SPY or the S&P between this 153.29 level here and these highs that we made last week. We'll have to wait and see. But if we break below this 20-day moving average around 153.30, 153.50, we can look for a test of this 151.22 level, which also coincides with the 50-day simple moving average and exponential moving average. All right. If we break past today's highs of 155.50, we're going to be looking for a move up towards those 156s. If momentum really comes in the market, going to be looking for a move up back up towards these 156.74s. One thing to take note of is we did have another day where we made another lower close here. Let me fix this chart up real quick. You can see here. So far for the session, so far for the past couple sessions here, we have 1, 2, 3 consecutive lower closes. All right, so the sellers are in control on the daily chart here as far as the closing prices goes, but buyers are coming in during the intraday session here and buying the market off of the lows here. But again, there's going to be a time when the buy the dip scenario doesn't work and we just continue to break through support levels, but that's not the scenario right now. So you have to continue doing what works, which is buying the dips and buying strong stocks that are actually holding up well intraday and showing some relative strength. All right, so SPY, IWM, let's take a look at the Russell 2000. IWM closed down 40 cents, 0.42%. This one has some nice little support around the 92.70 area. Prior resistance now acts as support, and that level also coincides with the 20-day simple and exponential moving average down here around, let's see here, what moving average is this? The 20-day simple moving average, 1 second here. Yeah, well, the 20-day moving average is around 92.66. If that's not the if that's not the simple, that's probably the exponential. And we have another moving average right here around 92.14. So we'll see how that plays out. In any case, IWM looks like it wants to get some selling pressure to pull back a little bit, even though, again, they're buying the dips off the lows. So it's kind of hard to try to get a nice short position intraday and hold it for the day. All right, so let's go and take a look at that nice volatility index here. Nice pop in the vol. And we're back above this little expansion bar low that we had from 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We had that nice selling pressure that came into the market, which they squeezed the volatility back out. And now we're moving back up. A lot of headline news still going on here regarding the Cyprus financial and the bailout and what the Eurozone is going to do, the ECB. And I believe they had they got the bailout denied, but the ECB said they're going to try to work with them. I have to read up more information on that tonight. Either way, the price action is telling you that there are, some people starting to show some fear in the market as we are having some nice selling pressure today, but somebody or some basically somebody, or I should say some buy programs are coming in and buying the market off the lows. And until that changes, it's got to keep on looking to buy those dips until, again, those support levels just keep on breaking, and we close dead on the lows or something like that. That would tell you that the nail's in the coffin for the bulls. When we get a nice day where we break through intraday support levels and we don't get a bounce off the lows to close flat to positive on any of the indices across the board or anything like that. So whenever that day comes, that's going to be the clue that you could probably catch a nice little 3-day, weekly, or probably even a monthly swing trade to the short side of the markets. But right now, again, that does not look to be the scenario. All right, let's take a look at the dollar futures chart here real quick, see what the dollar did today. The dollar was strong again today here, recovering from the previous 2 days of selling pressure there. And if the dollar is strong, obviously the euro is weak today. Let's go and take a look at that euro chart. All right, euro holding below that 130 level. You guys been watching the videos here. Take off the studies real quick. If you guys been watching the videos, I talked about the euro breaking back below that 130 level will get some nice selling pressure. Obviously, we had a nice little catalyst from the Cyprus news. But as you can see, we're starting to come back inside the little range that we had right here. And we're trying to basically fill down that channel support, which that channel support is going to be down there around, I would say, 128, 127.5. So keep an eye on the euro. Euro looks to get more selling pressure, and that's going to cause some more buying pressure in the dollar, which in turn could cause some more weakness in the commodities and some names that don't like a strong dollar, like some of these industrial stocks, Caterpillar, DE, a lot of these companies that do their sales from overseas. All right. Let's take a look at gold via the GLD. See what GLD did today here. GLD was up 70 cents. Some nice pop action going on in the gold stocks. And GLD hit that nice target. Last week we was talking about the GLD hitting the moving averages. That got hit. Said the next target would be 156.41, and that target got hit. We break past 156.41. We have some nice gap fill action here right above 158 and a quarter or so. Let's take a look at that SLV. SLV is another way to buy precious metals if you cannot afford to buy the GLD. And the SLV is not even bouncing at all. This one's trading sideways. I had somebody ask me, hey, shouldn't you buy the SLV? Isn't it cheaper? I say yes, but off of the news that's going on in the market, the precious metal that they're going after, if they were looking to kind of, if they were looking to kind of conserve, they were looking to kind of use these precious metals as a safe haven for the assets, buying the metals, turning in the dollars to buy some of these metals. Looks like they're buying the gold. You can take a look at the SLV, and you can see SLV is not rising at all. You got 28.50 here, the resistance level. You have 27.50 as a support level, dollar range here. Take a look at crude oil via the crude oil futures. See what crude oil did today here. Crude oil was weak today. Nice selling pressure against that supply zone. Actually, let me move this little supply zone over right here for us. And you can see we got rejected right at that 94 area, which is a key level that we've been tracking here since the start of the year. All right, and nice rejection there. Engulfing candlestick pretty much gave back the prior 1, 2, 3 days of trading or so. If we break below 92 on the crude oil, I would expect the crude oil to move back down towards 90 if we continue to get that selling pressure that's coming in the market right now. Again, if the dollar rises, we can see a nice little pullback in crude oil, which is kind of good because we can see some lower gas prices at the pump. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about some key stocks, starting off with Apple. Apple had a nice little pause day today, down $1.23, down 0.27%. Got a lot of people still long the stock looking for it to bounce. One thing you want to take a note of, though, is that it's below this declining 100-day, actually not 100-day, 50-day simple moving average right here, which is around 465.67, which if it was to get a nice pop-up, that would be the target, which is just right there. Again, that's 466, 467 area. Take a look at Amazon today. Amazon tried to get a bounce today. It was still down $1.48. You can see it closed well off of its lows, but still it's in a no-go zone. Really want to see Amazon back above these 260s, which was the level that we highlighted, which was trapping a lot of shorts every time we traded below 260. Flagged up here, try to form this nice little bullish pattern. Again, came out with the news from Foxconn, and so far they've just been in sell mode in that stock. Maybe take a look at Amazon for a possible reversal tomorrow if it gets back over those 259.50s or so. Okay, what else do we have going on today? Sprint was a nice little stock. My partner James called out in the room. They actually called out the call options in the room before the volatility picked up in them, and were able to make a 100% gain on them once the volatility spiked up here. But you can see this one looks like it's ready to go. Nice volume today. Did 95 million shares when usually it's been doing about 20, 17, 23 million, 15. So this one looks to go. If you take a look at the monthly chart, all right, this one has been trying to break past these $6, past the $6 level here, 610s. We have some resistance around 650. Next target on this thing is going to be around 645. All right, so let's go back to the daily chart. So yeah, this one's looking pretty good. You can get long Sprint and put a stop below today's low, put a stop below yesterday's lows around 579, and take it for a ride. Looks like it wants to go back to the top side here and finally get away from these $6 590 level here. All right, what else do we have going on? So that's let's see. Let's take a look at the banks. Goldman Sachs. See what the banks did today. Goldman Sachs sitting right on the 50-day simple moving average. If it breaks below these 147.40s, next support is going to be down here around say 143.50 or so. Keep that one on watch. Take a look at Citigroup. All the banks had some nice selling pressure today as the FAS was on the bottom of the list when it came to the ETFs here. FAS had the highest change from open to the downside throughout most of the session. All right, Citigroup pulling back a little bit. Still has some support from the 20-day moving average down there. Gap fill action around 45. Of course, let's take a look at JP Morgan, see what JP Morgan did today here. JP Morgan was down 31 cents, 0.63%. And JP Morgan is falling back inside this little consolidation range that it had right here before it tried to break out and trade in this upper range, which looks like it's not going to hold here. So JP Morgan really needs to get back above 49.50, maybe even the $50 level here. We get back above 50, good. If we continue to hold below 50, look for this thing to pull back in towards 47.57. That's about it, guys. Hope you guys had a great trading day today. Make sure you come check us out in the chat room, wallstreettrading.com. It's me and my other two partners that moderate the chat room. A lot of good action, a lot of good intraday calls on the volatility, on the VIX, on stocks, on Sprint, a whole bunch of stuff. Come check us out. At the same time, join us on our Facebook page for our news that we post in the morning to get our traders warmed up for the pre-market action, and that is Wall Street Trading on Facebook. Have a good night, folks. See you all in the AM. Cheers.